Remember the show we had before deer season? Doc and Marlene Kelly teamed up to take some videotapes of the releasing of two huge bucks down in southern Michigan who had their antlers locked. Doc is a veterinarian down there. He successfully freed them. What a story it was. A home video like we've never seen here on Michigan Outdoors. We think the best of the year. Stay tuned, enjoy it with us. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors. We have one of the most incredible coincidences and stories right now that I think I've ever heard in the outdoors. Dr. Asa Kelly from Addison. 27 years ago, you did something with a couple of bucks whose antlers were locked. What'd you do?
Released them and let them run again.
Sawed their antlers off. Very few vets, I'd say, have ever had the experience of doing anything like that. Wouldn't you think?
You know, I have no way of judging it.
Do you have any pictures of that?
No, I do not.
Now, the other night, Marlene Kelly, what happened?
We got a phone call from the sheriff's department. Two bucks had their horns caught together, and Bruce wanted us to come help.
Okay, Marlene grabbed the video camera, the home video, and this is what she took as her husband, Doc Kelly, had the rope in his hand, and the first thing he did is fling it over their antlers. Oh.
And as you see, we had kind of a lucky grab there. We got what we wanted right off. I wanted just the one deer, so if we did get them apart, we didn't have two of them still fastened together and fighting both of them.
You mean that rope is just over one of the antlers of
yes.
one of the deer?
Mm-hmm. It's on the one towards you. And as we got the rope settled on their horns, we put some pressure on it to turn their necks at an angle so that they would not have the ability to charge straight forward as we were working with them.
Looks like a pretty cautious group of people there.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm scared to death of them because they'll kill you.
Well, the tines on that one buck look to be 8 or 10 inches long.
I think they're fully that long and perhaps longer.
Are you going with the bolt cutters?
Yeah. Now, what I did was take the tip of that one tine off, hoping that as I took that tip off, I could use that as a lever and pry those two racks apart. So you'll see that tip go, and I think you'll see here in a moment where I tried to use it as a pry bar, and it just wasn't going to work. And you'll see I tried it a little bit there and just gave up and started with the vice grips that you will see here in a moment that I used to make a groove in that horn.
Now you mean the bolt cutters were too...
The bolt cutters were too small to cut back at the base, or towards the base where we had to release it.
Now how big are those bucks? I mean, points, they're about, what?
I think they're 10 and 12 points. I think you'll count those later. And they were rather large bucks. I'm going to judge them at roughly 220 and 280 live weight.
280 pounds for that biggest one?
I believe so.
Well, Marlene, you're a hunter.
I'm a
So is
hunter.
Doc. This must have been exciting to you to see this.
It was exciting, very much so.
You're holding the camera real steady there. You were a distance away.
Mm-hmm. I was in the car to start with, and then I just decided I had to get closer, and I got out. And I've got the old-fashioned camera where I have to carry the recorder. This is not a camcorder.
Carrying the recorder with you.
Right.
Boy, look at that bundle of tines. And what are you looking for? What are you doing right there?
That's where I'm notching the tine. As I told you, I was notching it so I could get the bolt cutter over it.
And you say there's one of them there that...
There's one in both situations that I have been into with this, that the one tine will release it if you find the right one.
Now that's the landowner there who has a farm?
That is the landowner that owns a farm.
Oh, and there's Bruce.
Then there's Bruce.
Bruce Van Weren, the conservation officer. Now he's running back up there.
He's playing quarter horse. He's the one that's sitting on the rope. And as he said, this is yours, go do it.
Now, how long were these bucks, how long have they been locked up?
The landowner saw them at 7 o'clock in the morning.
And what time is it now?
And this is roughly 5:30, 5:45 in the evening. And they called the conservation officer later on in the day seeking help, and this is the result of it.
Now, these deer would have died
Oh, yes.
if they...
Yes.
How long would it have taken them to die?
I don't think that's an answerable question exactly due to the weather and so many different factors. If they could get where there was water, I'm sure they would drink and eat and so on. However, they really do attempt to mutilate each other. There you'll see where
Yeah, you just got that tine, didn't you,
I
right
did
there?
take that tine on off.
Oh, now this is
Now,
got to be a tense moment.
this is a very tense moment. You see them release a little. You see them start to charge each other again. As they did this, I took the rope off. You see, I reached over and released the quick release on the Honda.
Oh, yeah,
and
right
there.
there.
It goes. All right, now I'm going to run around real quick on the other side to check to see if there's any further damage to them that needs attention, and where I didn't believe there was. And checked them there to be sure their eyes and everything was okay. And
But now, why are they standing so still?
they still think they're locked in combat.
And of course, after 10 or 12 hours, or who knows how many hours, they have given up.
And I just told the fellas
Oh.
there to just get back, and I think if just a little movement, I think they'll release themselves. Hear those horns clicking.
Man,
And
that is drama.
the one that is leaving, in this case, is considered the loser, and I'll show you the winner. Right there he is. And there goes Twinkle Toes. And he really is quite belligerent at this moment. He thinks he has beat the other deer, and he's ready to beat anything else he comes to. And you'll see the tine that we cut off, so we didn't take very much of it off.
Boy, you can see that. Magnificent. Maybe foot-long tines there. And that's down in Addison, Lenawee County. Look at that. And he's watching you folks.
Oh, yes. Yes, shame on anyone that goes near him.
But he wasn't going to charge from that distance. Any closer, though, he might?
Oh, I started up towards him at one time, and all I did was just drop his head and point those tines at you.
And that's all you need.
No, that's all I need.
Now, when he turned around, and I think he did turn over and glance at Marlene there with the camera.
Right, Bruce told me that if he charged, just to leave it on.
Yeah, leave the
and set it
camera
down,
going.
Right.
He didn't just bound off right then.
No, we to be sure that he was capable of moving out into life, we took the car and drove up to him slowly and blew the horn, and he turned and left as the other one did then.
So he wasn't hurt.
No,
He was
no.
just belligerent?
Yes.
It was fine.
I tell you, I don't know what it does for the folks at home, but that tape got my heart pounding.
It was exciting.
That was a heart thumper of a story. A lot of people asked, wonder what happened to those two deer. Did hunters get them during hunting season? The word we got just the other day from Doc Kelly is that one, the biggest one, was hit by a car. So it was a roadkill. We're supposed to get those antlers. Maybe we'll get them on display up at the museum. But deer, we get more letters about deer than any other critter. Stephen Inhata from Lansing sent me a question about deer that a lot of people wonder about. He asked, during archery season, hunting late in December, I hardly see any deer. Why? I see lots of deer during October and November. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the number of deer taken from the herd by hunters during the previous hunting season. Now, that amounts to about 20%, but that's not the reason you don't see deer late in November. The reason is that deer have a major change in their metabolism. Their bodies slow down significantly in December. They eat less, they move around less, they're conserving energy so they can make it through the winter. Now, they'll stay in their bedding areas sometimes for days. So you don't see deer in December because they're not moving much, and they won't be moving until spring.
When fishing in the Great Lakes, if you catch a coaster, what have you caught? Well, coaster is a common name for migratory brook trout found in the Great Lakes. The coasters descend from tributary streams and live in the Great Lakes waters, where they often grow from 3 to 5 pounds in weight, much larger than the average stream trout.
We've been to a lot of sportsman and hunting and fishing shows and boat shows over the years, but last year was the first time that we introduced a new concept to sport shows. That was our Outdoors Forever program. This was at the Central Michigan Sports Show in Lansing last February. We're going to be there again this year with Outdoors Forever. We found the response was quite phenomenal. Didn't you, Raj? The people
Oh,
who
I
came to
was-
the show?
I was overwhelmed. The amount of people that came and the interest they had on a lot of the adapted equipment we were showing.
Most of the fishing tackle and hunting gear that you see can't really be used the way it is off the shelf by handicappers or people with arthritis. And at the Central Michigan Sports Show last February, Catherine Mulhaupt was introducing the group to some different products. You were too, Raj. Now look at the people in the group. They're not what you would consider, handicappers. There's not too many with wheelchairs.
Right. Now, you find that most people, they know somebody, or they have somebody in their family that's handicapped, and they see these items, they think, gee, that'll help maybe get my dad or father-in-law back out, so that's where we come up with it.
That's what Outdoors Forever is all about. It's really the more Christmassy side of Michigan outdoors year-round, because we want to introduce people to bring new products and new attitudes to family members. And take a grandpa fishing, for example. We do this, get a lot of the information out in the Outdoor Digest, which is getting quite substantial,
Yes.
Catherine. Catherine is the new editor of the Outdoor Digest, which is going to be out on time.
Yes, this time.
Not just this time, but for all of 1988. She's put together the Outdoors Forever supplements, which has information on Outdoors Forever, such as Tim Binns. We had some photos on the show. Tim Binns with his blind. He recently became a paraplegic as a hunter. Quadriplegic.
Yes.
This was 2 years ago, and he hunted from this blind, which was on a vehicle, got a standing vehicle permit, and this year, triumphantly, there he is
Look
with
at
it.
that.
He had a 5-point buck and a doe that he also took.
That he took this year from this. Now, there's a quadriplegic who made it. Here's another success story. Don Basie from Tecumseh and his wife Judy have hunted and fished for years. He's a quadriplegic, and he found, this was the first year he could use a bow.
He never thought he'd be able to bow hunt again, but at the sports show, he was able to try some of the equipment we had there. And as you saw in the picture, he's bow hunting again.
The high-tech Oneida Eagle bow, which he found at the sports show, he says, I'll be darned, I think after all these years in a wheelchair that I can bow hunt again. We've had other victories. This has excited me. Our supplements and the digest have gone around the country, literally. People who watch the show on satellite and who've heard about Outdoors Forever. The newspaper, The New Era in Humiston, Iowa. There was an article in here my dad brought me from Iowa. Glenn Holm, president of the Isaac Walton League, and George Mosier from the Wayne County Conservation Board in Iowa have a sign there on a fence post. This sign, hunting by permission only, with a telephone number. Now, this sign has an addition on the bottom of it, elderly and handicapped welcome. And George Mosier told my dad, they're big fans of Outdoors Forever out there, and this is a result of our Outdoors Forever program. They've decided to open up the hunting and do what they can to help the handicapped.
Isn't that great?
It's super. That's what Outdoors Forever is all about. Something that especially warm at Christmas time, but I think year-round you're going to find Outdoors Forever has a significant place among sportsmen in the outdoors. In fact, you'll be able to meet Raj and Catherine at our events. Let's take a look right now at our outdoor calendar. Well, we got a great recipe coming up. Speaking of our events, John McKenzie from Coyle's Restaurant is going to be catering our Fishing Awards banquet this year. But last year, talking about fishing awards, what do you guys think? What's better, the big fish or the great stories?
Oh, the
Oh,
great
great
story.
stories.
Great
Definitely.
Well, we
Great
got
stories.
some big fish and great stories from our Fishing Awards banquet last year. Let's take a look at them right now. George Gravel caught himself one whopper of a tiger muskie, trolling a night crawler to Quamanon River fishing for what?
Walleye,
And you caught a muskie that weighed
34 and 4 ounces.
34 pounds, 4 ounces. What does a fish that size fight like?
Like hell. It took me about 45 minutes to get it in, and it was a lot of trouble, but it was worth it.
After 45 minutes and it's right up to the boat, you must have been on edge.
I was afraid of losing them, and I fished Canada before and a lot of places and lost bigger fish or big fish, and I didn't want to lose him. So,
Who was on the net?
a friend of mine, Mike McRae, and I told him, just do what I say and we won't lose this fish, and we got him in the boat. And we got him in the boat and netted him. He ripped through the net, and the crawler harness and the line broke after we got him in the boat.
What a story. 34 pounds, 4 ounce tiger muskie goes to George Gravel.
Yes.
George Gravel from Howell. Congratulations. That is one big fish. 45 minutes he had that on. Quite a surprise to latch onto a fish like that when you're walleye fishing. And it happens quite often in Michigan. Now, this is the fish that George was after. It's called a pickerel by Canadian anglers, commonly called a walleye in the States. This whopper was caught in Saginaw Bay, the new boom town for walleye in Michigan. Got a 9-pounder. Jay Edwards from Bay City. Here's the guy who founded the Saginaw Bay Walleye Club, right?
Right.
You're the president for many, many years.
5 years.
5 years, and you've caught a lot of walleye out of Saginaw Bay. This is the Tittabawassee River walleye you caught.
Yep, this was 9 pounds 4 ounces on October 21st. It was just after the flood of 1986. It was about the first time we could get back on the water, and it's kind of a kickoff. We started that weekend, and then we ended up fishing all the way through to December, twice a week, and took walleyes at least 20, 25 a day. Catch and release a lot of fish.
For which, sorting out the big ones, huh?
Sorting out the big ones.
Is that Saginaw Bay fishery coming back for walleye?
Oh, we're starting to see. You're going to get me cranked up.
I know.
It's hard for me not to get excited. It's just fantastic.
Outstanding fishing, and Jay Edwards, founder of the Saginaw Bay Walleye Club. He's a big promoter up in that area. Saginaw Bay is worth getting excited about. We just might be working with Jay on a special walleye tournament for this summer. A new angle for Michigan Outdoors in 1988. Now, you don't have to be big or tall or terribly experienced to catch an award-winning fish. Here's a little girl who caught a huge brook trout on her 4th birthday. One of the cutest stories we've heard at our banquets. A little bigger than that. Come on up here. April Sales from Bruce Crossing, Sucker Creek in Ontonagon County, way up in the UP.
I catched it after my birthday, and it broke my pole.
It did?
Yep, it did. Yeah, it was a 4.5 pound brook trout, and we had just bought her a little 3-foot pole, a little kiddie pole, and she got excited and started reeling backwards, and the handle fell right off the pole. So,
a 4-pound 5 ouncer. Do you know how big that is for a brook trout?
Mm-hmm.
I bet you do. What'd you do with it? Where is it?
It's at the mountain thing.
It's at the who? What'd you call the guy? Taxidermist? Yeah, it's at the taxidermist. Okay, April Sales. Congratulations, a great story. Got it on her birthday, huh?
yep.
Her birthday, April 27th. Isn't that something for a 4-year-old? Cute as a button. You wonder, with that kind of luck, what kind of fish story she'll come up with in the years ahead. Well, the ladies stole the spotlight last year at our Fishing Awards banquet, and one of the greatest stories of all times came from this woman who's obviously an excellent and experienced angler. She got quite excited over this trophy catfish. Here we have a lady, Ida Blessing from Bloomingdale, caught Bloomingdale, Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, good. Whoa, there it is. You got a picture. You just hold that up there, Ida. This channel cat she caught on a redworm from Little Brandywine Lake in Van Buren County. It weighed how much?
It weighed 11 pounds 4 ounces.
Wow. You probably never caught one that big, have you?
No, I hooked onto a bigger one, didn't have a net in the boat, and we lost that one.
Who's we?
My husband took over because I couldn't handle it. It was so big.
How long did it fight?
A heck of a long time. But this one headed right for the weeds, and I didn't know what to do. And I was all alone, nobody else on the lake, and I put the butt of my rod right between my knees and rode like crazy to get out in deep water.
Did you?
And the rod got away from me, and it hooked on the empty seat in front of me, and I about fell in the lake getting my rod, and I thought, oh, I've lost it, whatever it is.
How did you finally get it in the boat?
Oh, God, don't ask me. I had a 5-foot ultralight rod with 6-pound test line and 7-foot of line fishing for bluegills with a stationary bobber, and I'm standing in the boat like this trying to net that fish.
And you netted it?
I netted it. And then I rushed down to the neighbors.
Rowing, of course.
No, I had 20 bluegills, and I left them, and the old man came to the door, and he says, "What the hell are you doing down here this early in the morning?" And I said, "Well, come here, I want to to show you something. And he said, I'm in my pajamas. And I said, I don't care if you're in the nude. I said, I got something.
I tell you, you know, how many people in this room would like to go fishing with Ida Blessing? Hey, I think I would love to. Ida, congratulations. Outstanding fish, outstanding story. Thank you very much. What a banquet we had in 1987. Our 1988 banquets will bring us a lot of new stories and tall tales, but Ida Blessing had the perfect tale to end our trophy book on Christmas Eve. Nancy Krakewicz from Free Soil sent us a recipe for Danish fish balls, which Kathy Beitler chose for our Christmas Eve show as the most festive, most
Great appetizer.
delightful little appetizer of the year. John McKenzie from Coyle's Restaurant up in Houghton Lake prepared this dish for us.
Trying to get all the bones out, because you can cut this into small pieces and then grind it, and you definitely need to grind it.
Now this is lake trout. You could
Lake
use
trout.
salmon.
Oh, it'll be perfect on pike because you grind the bones and all. You can add just 3 tablespoons of melted butter, and then you've got cornstarch and flour, and you actually see the difference there. The cornstarch is a little bit finer.
Not too much, a couple
No,
tablespoons
just 2 tablespoons of each. And
Is
that's
that
just
right?
going to kind of hold everything together. And 1 well-beaten egg, and that will hold everything together too. And use the mixer, because a fork you can get it mixed, but not nearly as well as you do with a mixer.
And then John McKenzie adds a little bit of
Just a little bit of milk, just a little at a time, because otherwise it'll be all in one corner basically.
And that, you know what this is like? It's like a cookie.
Yeah,
That's what it looks
What
like.
you said. And fry it in butter-flavored Crisco, and just on both sides, and that's it. Just drop it by teaspoon and into your hot oil. You would definitely want it hot.
Oh, they look mighty good, John. I'm gonna dip in here, wreck the beauty of that sauce right there, but.
Those are good, aren't they? I can't resist. I have to have one too.
But I happen to know that you're not the biggest fan of these.
Actually, they're very good. If you're a real fish lover, you may like your fish poached or regular fried, but wife and kids are going to love them this way.
Not only wife and kids, John McKenzie, we have the big fan here. On your side of the plate here, Bob, you've cleaned it out. You're
I plan to eat a few more, too. These sauces that go with it, too. The mustard, you know.
Mustard and what, sour cream
Sour
and dill?
cream and dill weed. And
Cocktail sauce. Oh, this is a real fish recipe with cocktail sauce. It's great.
But you can taste the fish.
Oh, definitely. It doesn't hide it at all. It's there. It's great.
It is so light.
Very mild.
I still say these shouldn't be called fish balls. They should be called fish cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're soft. In fact, you know, you can take a look at those. They just come
Very
apart,
moist.
and they're moist and tender.
And this kid and this husband is going to want to hog the rest of them, I think. They're really good, especially with the shrimp sauce.
We're really surprised, aren't we?
I'm sure you will be.
A great Christmas treat. I hope you folks have a great Christmas weekend. Drive safely. Have a good, safe weekend. Get outdoors if you can. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
The one that is leaving, in this case, is considered the loser, and I'll show you the winner. Right there he is. And there goes Twinkle Toes. And he really is quite belligerent at this moment. He thinks he has beat the other deer, and he's ready to beat anything else he comes to. And you'll see the tine that we cut off, so we didn't take very much of it off.
Well, you can see that. They're magnificent. Maybe foot-long tines there. And that's down in Addison, Lenawee County. Look at that. And he's watching you folks.
Oh, yes. Yes, shame on anyone that goes near him.
But he wasn't going to charge from that distance. Any closer, though, he might?
Oh, I started up towards him at one time, and all I did was just drop his head and point those tines at you.
And that's all you need.
No, that's all I need.